Okay, we'll call to order the meeting of the City of Adrian Brownfield Redevelopment Authority. Today is March 13th. It's 11 a.m. That is the date and time set for that meeting. Let's have a roll call, please. Member Watson.
Present.
Member Robinson. What? Robinson. Member Owen.
Present.
Member Marks.
Present.
Member Elliott's here. All members are present. We have a quorum. We're also joined by our acting city attorney, Scott Baker. The first order of business is to elect a chair, vice chair, and secretary treasurer for the board. Are there any nominations for chair? I would suggest one of our three-year members for chair. Do you recall?
I believe it was Watson and Mr. Robinson with two.
Okay. Brad, if nominated, would you
Along for the ride right now.
would you be willing to serve as our chair?
I would.
I would make that nomination as your support.
Support.
Are there any other nominations? We'll do a voice vote. All in favor of the nomination? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Chair, would you like to sit at the center of the table or remain at the end?
I will remain at the wing.
I'll turn the meeting over to you for the balance of the
Wow, throw right in the fire. Here we go.
election.
At this time, I would entertain motions for a vice chair appointment.
Consistent with our policy of keeping the three-year members in those seats, I would nominate Tim Robinson for vice chair.
Support. There's a motion and support on the table. Are there any additional nominations? Seeing and hearing none. Any additional discussion or any discussion related to Vice Chair Robinson's nomination? Seeing and hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Next step, Secretary and Treasurer role. I would entertain a motion to appoint a Secretary and Treasurer.
I would move to appoint Jay Marks as Secretary Treasurer.
There is a motion and a support to nominate Jay Marks. Are there any further nominations?
Who had the second on that?
Tim,
Okay.
is there any further discussion on this nomination of Mr. Marks? All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. As we quickly move down this agenda, into new business, creation of the revolving loan program. Administrator Elliott, could you fill us in, or whoever the most versed staff member is? Could they fill us in, please?
I'll start and I'll let Jay continue. So the city commission, their last meeting, I guess, did appropriate $850,000 for this purpose. The Brownfield Authority had 100,000 in it already from prior activity, and so you have a balance on hand of roughly $950,000 available for this purpose. We do have a request that we will get to at our next item of business for the use of about 900,000 of that. But the first order of business would be if the board is so inclined to create such a program and to have some guidelines to guide us in the use of that program. And with that, I'll turn it over to Jay, who's got some documents in the packet.
So in the packet, you'll see the policy that was created by the city of Grand Rapids for their Brownfield redevelopment, from the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority, creating a local Brownfield revolving loan fund. What I've done, and this isn't in the packet, I just completed this. I've taken that and used the majority of the sections to create a policy for us, eliminating, their section 2, which is kind of based on the volume of loans that they get. They get a significant number, so they allocate a certain percentage of that. And then eliminated some of the fees that they associate with theirs as well. The parameters were the same until you get down to section 6 of theirs, which would be section 5 of ours, where you see the section under loans. There states that borrowers must seek tax increment financing through a brownfield plan amendment. Ours would say may seek brownfield tax increment financing. Or the loans may be repaid by the borrower with terms negotiated through the local brownfield revolving loan fund. So, and the one that handed out, if you go to the 3rd page. Yep. Section 5 now. Yep. We added loans may be repaid by the borrower with terms negotiated through the LBRF.
Scott, have you had a chance to see this? I know we just got it.
I have. I looked at it briefly prior to the meeting. And that was going to be one of my suggestions today, is that we put a policy in place. So I think that this is a great baseline. I'm not sure. Sorry. Yes, to answer your question, I have had a chance to look at it briefly before the meeting. One of my recommendations was that we do put a policy in place, and I think this is a great baseline. I'm not sure, quite frankly, if there'll be any additions needed or corrections, but we will certainly scrub through it and make any recommendations.
Do you think it would be appropriate to adopt this as a interim policy pending your review?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I have, so the record's clear, I have read through it in its entirety as it sits before me today, and I'm comfortable with that.
Okay, well, I would make a motion, Mr. Chair, to adopt this as our interim policy subject to the city attorney's review.
All right, we have a motion from Elliott, support from Robinson on adopting the policy as presented to us from Marks. Is there any further discussion on that matter? I just had one question related to it. As I read the Grand Rapids Brownfield redevelopment, and I see that also in the new proposal, there's an adjustment of the rate and terms. Like, is that intentionally left out of here? Like, who negotiates this? Is it as presented? Like, because that can be some of the sticky stuff that we might be presented with, or some of the creative ways that developers come to us. So I think it's it's a trade-off, right?
Yeah, so if you look in section 5 under the proposed policy.
Yeah.
It talks in there where each loan will be incorporated into the project's development and reimbursement agreement and will be negotiated on a case-by-case basis and approved by the LBRF committee. So the revolving brownfield loan fund.
And that would be normal language or standard language on a loan fund similar to this, because, I see a 4% rate brought to us right now, which I would argue is below a market rate by a substantial amount, or a substantial number of points, as well as, only interest-only payments. Those kind of things could become a point of contention, but also could be a point of favor where we could be more appealing. So, like, is there any way to incorporate more structure, or should we intentionally leave it out as a best practice?
I mean, my sense is you leave it as flexible as you can so that you can, again, within the need to have some guidance, so you're not behaving arbitrarily. But this program is an incentive,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
and so it does, we don't want to necessarily be like a bank or charge bank interest or, commercial lending terms. We want to be able to incentivize projects that are important to us. Ultimately, this should give us a guide for what is really important and, have some perhaps ranking criteria at some point. As
Sure.
to, it's going to be a minute before we're at the point of having to make decisions amongst multiple requests because we're about to probably spend all the money we got available for the moment. But in 3 years, time when that's restored and the supplemented, that'll be a thing.
To give you a comparison, MEDC, they have the CRP program that they use for projects, larger projects. Their interest rate on that is 2%. So we're above where the state would be in their project, situation. I can't tell you what Grand Rapids offers them. I'm not familiar with that.
And there's no rules or laws around those favorable rates. I mean, we could go interest free if we wanted to. We could go like there's nothing to be concerned of on that front, correct?
That's correct. The bigger issue becomes, are you charging an exorbitant interest rate?
Sure.
That's where you start.
Sure.
crossing some
You can also give the money away.
Yeah.
So for perspective, we asked Nathan what like our opportunity cost for our money is, and what did you say, Nathan?
Well, I speaking with Jay and some of our investments right now are 5.5%. Special assessments, we do 6%. So that's kind of where it is. As
Sure.
far as newer CDs coming out are 4s and
Yep.
stuff like that.
So we're kind of in the ballpark, but still
Very
more
competitive.
favorable than commercial.
Yes, correct,
And you're not giving it away.
correct. Because it is a loan.
Mhm.
That's what we're saying. All right, so there's a motion and a support on the table. Any further comments? Seeing and hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Also, under section 4, new business, we have a proposal for a loan at 818 Riverside Avenue, formerly the Bixby Hospital property. Mr. Marks, do you want to address this?
Yeah, so there's been a change. It's from the document that you received last night, the new documents in the packet that I handed out. The request from the parties are a loan of $900,000. Loan terms are requesting is 36 months and 4% interest rate. Annual payments, the first payment would be 12 months after the initial draw. Interest only payment with a 3-year balloon payment. There's an amortization table at the bottom of that document. And then disbursement of funds and security milestones. So the security interests of the BRA would be listed there at those dates. And these are just estimated dates that are included. The next page after that gives you a little bit more detailed amortization table. So if you're looking kind of why the interest is different, because you wouldn't accumulate it or wouldn't accrue the interest until the draws took place in that first year.
We kind of tried to work with them in terms of the draw schedule that kept what they were drawing somewhat in line with what we would expect the value of the collateral to be. And the loan will have to be based, on documents that the city attorney works out with the applicant. We're not going to get into reviewing the form of the promissory note and the assignment of their, deal with ProMedica and the mortgage or any of that. It'll have to be in a form acceptable to the city attorney. But our sense was that drawing it in 4 draws like this with these milestones, even though it's all nominally for demolition, keeps what we've lent them somewhat in line with the value of the collateral that we have. So, initially the property will become much more valuable once the building is torn down. then it will become more valuable once it's entitled. And I think they requested submittal as opposed to approval of the entitlements because we're in control of the entitlements, right? And it wouldn't be really fair to require approval when we're in sole control of whether it's approved or not. But once that property is zoned for 53 units, it now becomes much more valuable than it is today. And so they get a draw in connection with that. And then when they go ahead and build the model home, in turn, now it's got improvements on it that throws off cash flow. And so it's more in turn more valuable at that point. And so again, it's not, it may not be perfect in terms of aligning at a point in time when the property is actually worth $900,000, but at least we're keeping it pretty close in time to when the value is being created in the collateral.
Thank you. Any questions from the authority for Mr. Elliott or Mr. Marks?
Do they expect to be down and have the new house built by November? Or by the end of this year anyway?
Based on their proposed draw schedule, yes.
Great.
No?
I think the requirement per their deal with ProMedica is to have the building down
At
by
least-
July.
Down, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's still a big project just by itself.
And really the only thing on this proposal that we're agreeing to is the loan amount, time frame, and interest rate. Is that accurate? It is not the milestone dates on here, just to be clear, are exclusively for reference purposes. So I mean, if the second draw comes in June, obviously interest will be adjusted accordingly.
Yes.
Yeah, the dates are for reference purposes, the milestones would be part of the deal.
But ultimately, it's a 36-month loan at 4% of principal interest. Accurate? So I mean, that interest income could be far more than that or far less than that, depending on the progress of the project.
Correct.
If there's no other discussion on the proposal, I would make a motion to approve a loan as detailed on the term sheet that we received. And that would be subject to the loan documentation to be effectuated in a form acceptable to the city attorney. I guess that's it.
And granting who the authority to
Mhm.
sign the documents.
Oh. Yeah, typically that would be the chair. I mean, the chair of the authority to sign I would say the chair or the city administrator, the authority to sign the loan documents.
Okay. Secretary March, do you have all that motion?
Yep.
Accurate. Okay. There's a motion by Elliott. Is there support? Support by Robinson. Any further discussion on this matter? Seeing and hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried, unanimous vote. Item 5, old business, there is none. Item 6, future business, none. Any comments from the public?
Hi, Aaron Cheshire, City of Adrian resident. So I'm a novice to local government, so I've been really trying to just make my rounds to each commission to see how everything is run as a whole in the city. So I just wanted to make the board aware of a few things. So when I was going online, they're all like technical online things. But when I was online looking for the meeting, the agenda link didn't work, so it didn't pull up anything. I don't know if that was done or anything, or if it would work in the future. I also noticed that there wasn't a tab for this board at all for like a description or anything on the city website. This is again probably because it's new and like newly appointed people. And also when, like how many times a year that the commission meets. So I might not be seeing these things online, looking in the wrong place, but if there are updates to be made, that would be great. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Any comments on behalf of the city or on behalf of the committee? All right. Time now is 11:20. Can I get a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Is there support?
Support.
Motion from Elliott, support from Marks. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Meeting is adjourned.
You did it. Woo-hoo.